Boro exit the FA Cup in a performance at the Riverside that, well, it mirrors most of the other poor performances we continue to see at home this season. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Project Boro. Yes, I'm going to surprise you all by dropping an episode following the FA Cup game, which I wasn't going to do at first, I'm going to be honest, but there's plenty of stuff to talk about, stuff I want to get off my chest, and that's what this channel's for, isn't it? It's a platform to get things off your chest, whether good or bad, and unfortunately, today, it was more of the same bad from Boro as Blackburn rocked up at the Riverside, and basically, rinse and repeat. They did exactly the same as what they did in the league game only a few months ago. They came to Boro, they were incredibly solid, very disciplined, and like all the other teams have done this season at the Riverside, you come here with a template, with a game plan that you know will work, and every single time Middlesbrough Football Club are unable to break through a well-disciplined defence, and in this occasion, especially today, the worst thing was that we gave up a lot of chances, and 1-0 flattered us, if we're absolutely honest. And listen, first things first, I'm not massively upset that we're out the FA Cup. I know that sounds probably bad, and I know a lot of people are very sentimental about the FA Cup, and don't get me wrong, I'd love a cup run as much as anybody, but when it comes to early rounds of the cup versus the league, naturally your investment isn't as strong, it isn't as solid as what it would be. However, it's not that we're out the cup that's the irritating thing, it's the manner that we've lost again at home. The same issues over and over again at the Riverside, at home. And it's becoming a real chore at the moment. I'm going to be honest, watching Boro in general is a chore at the moment, but at home especially, we have got some serious issues that need to be addressed. And as me and Chris discussed on the big Jumbo podcast episode we did that dropped on Friday, the frustrating thing at the minute, and it's becoming more and more frustrating the more we see it, these are not new issues. We're seeing the same things happen over and over again with no seeming resolution to them. You know, we've seen this game at the Riverside so many times this season, and even in games like Cardiff where we do get a goal, we find a way of blowing it, and then we're getting stuck in the same position, which is in front of a team who are sitting back, defending well, and just like against Cardiff, just like against Bristol City, just like against many teams this season at the Riverside, we could not break them down, and we never ever looked like breaking them down. We are becoming a really, really predictable team to play against at the Riverside at the moment. Really, really predictable, and it's starting to be a little bit of a worry. You know, we've had 3 really flat performances in a row at home now. You know, the Burnley one, it looked better because it was a draw against a very good team and we defended a lot better in that game, but never ever looked like troubling them. Same against Cardiff, barring the goal, we didn't look like troubling them at all, and we barely laid a glove on Blackburn, barring one effort, I think, from Alex Gilbert, which was on target. I think it might have been early on in the second half. Other than that, it was the same old story. You know, Blackburn come with a game plan, allowed Boro to just have the ball. They sat back in a very disciplined shape. And as always, we never ever looked like we were going to get anywhere near them. We didn't test the goalkeeper enough, and it was another really flat, lethargic performance. And the worst thing is, I thought maybe with the Cardiff game, we were at the end of a long run of fixtures, bit of fatigue set in. Okay, you know, we've got a rest, got a cup game coming up. A lot of players can come in, a lot of fringe players can come in, make a claim for a space in this team. But it was the same game again. You know, it looked just as flat, just as lethargic. And the issue we've got with our style of play at home right now is if the tempo isn't quick enough, it becomes so easy to defend against and so frustrating to watch, because if we're not playing the ball around quickly enough, when there's a team sat there, we're just horseshoeing it side to side, slow passing from one side to the other, moves breaking down. We have to play with more intensity. We have to be quicker. at home with the ball when faced with sides like this. And again, because we weren't quick enough, it was the same thing. Really lethargic, really poor, really ineffective. And that's when, if we're not going to play quick enough, we need to switch it up. You know, and the issue and the worry at the minute is Carrick isn't doing that. You know, we're seeing plan A, and if plan A is not working, we keep playing plan A. We'll make like-for-like substitutes, and we'll keep playing plan A. We'll stick with the same system. It's not going to change anything. Blackburn will just, all right, there's a different player coming on, a different individual. He might offer different things, but the system's the same. It doesn't change anything. You know, we need to have an alternative at home where, you know, if we are facing a low block or a very well-disciplined, organised side, we have to do something different, something out of the box, something to try and stretch them, move them around, get back into the game, because as soon as they went 1-0 up, you knew what the outcome was going to be. 1-0 Blackburn. They'll shut up shop, they've got their goal, they'll defend well, Boro won't hurt them. That's exactly what happened, and you can't use the excuse that it's a different team, different players. A lot of players, fresh players come in today, and we had the same issue, which tells me it's down to the style, it's down to the system, which it is just not working in these games. And another worrying thing, Blackburn could be a team we play in the playoffs. They're a team who are right there alongside us in the playoff mix, and twice they've come to Riverside now, executed exactly the same game plan, and John Eustace has done Michael Carrick once again. And I just feel like if we come up against a half-decent coach at the moment, who is getting more out of his team than what Carrick's getting out of ours, we're going to see this. And it's really, really, really frustrating that Boro were unable to get a result today, because just the feel around the club at the minute, we are just getting very, very bored, tired, sick, annoyed at seeing the same issues over and over again with no signs of any of them being resolved. And we just could have done with a win at the Riverside today. Just a win. You know, a positive result at home against a good side. But again, like many times this season, a team comes to Riverside and more often than not goes home with a positive result. And it's really, really beginning to frustrate, I know, a lot of Boro fans. And yeah, here we are again. Been here before. Am I surprised? No, but I'm frustrated that we're seeing the same issues and they continue to not be resolved. There obviously was a massively changed side today. There were still a couple of players in there who've played because of the injuries and the lack of depth we've got. So Glover was still in there, Dykesteel was still in there, Barlasser was still in there. But other than that, we moved a few players around. So Engel was in for Borges at left back, Clark and Edmondson were in the centre role of defence. Barlasser was paired with young Lon McCabe today in place of Hayden Hackney. McGree was backing on the left because Bergzorg had to go up front. Gilbert was in for Azaz. Hamilton was in on the right-hand side. Now, the first half was a non-event, really. Nothing really of note happened. It was a poor game from both sides, to be honest. It was a really, really flat game, pretty poor in quality, not much going on at all. They did have the biggest chance, I would say, though, when they hit the bar. They played the ball well down the left-hand side. Cross coming up, hit the bar, I think it was. It might be in Britain. Can't recall whether it was him or Buckley. Not sure, but it was a very good opportunity to which they hit the bar with. That was a giant let-off. And that was all, really, in the first half. You know, we had a few pop shots from outside the area, but never massively tested their goalkeeper until the second half, when, as I say, we had the one chance from Gilbert, which just come from a hoof-long ball forward, which created a little bit of an issue at the back for Blackburn. It was a good save from their goalkeeper. The only save he really had to make, barring I think another long effort from range from Hackney, which he comfortably parried to his left. But although Blackburn only had the one goal in the end, wow, they should have had more. You know, they hit the bar in the first half. That was a warning. Second half, Andy Vyman could have had another. You know, playing out from the back again. You ask the question, are these players good enough to do it? Are they good enough to play Carrick's way? Again, we're seeing more individual errors. This time, it didn't result in a goal, although it should have. Vyman intercepts a ball out from Glover. I don't know how Vyman doesn't score, to be honest. I think Glover does enough to sort of put him off and distract him, and he manages to somehow miss the target. That should have been 2-0, but the goal did eventually come on the 70th minute. Again, down Boro's sides, they play a good ball into the box. Clark and Edmondson get back and clear it out, but there is absolutely Nobody in the midfield picking up Vyman, who pretty much has all of TS3. He can just step into the box, step on the ball, no one anywhere near him, and he has a free shot to finish past Tom Glover. And then straight from kickoff, literally straight from kickoff, Boro instantly lose possession. They're in again, might have been Leonard, but they got straight in from kickoff, and it could have been 3 or 2. Well, it should have been 3. It could have been 2 straight after kickoff. Again, another big chance goes begging for Blackburn Rovers. So they could have had 4, in all honesty. You know, the Glover error wasn't punished by Vyman. They hit the bar. They broke through straight away after the kickoff. So Boro, quite honestly, got away with 1 today. Even though the stats say Blackburn only had 1 shot on target, they fluffed a huge number of really, really good opportunities, and we could have seen a scoreline that wouldn't have far off resembled the one against Stoke in the League Cup earlier this season, where again we were just continually getting dominated and chances were getting created and were getting put away in that game. But in this one, as I say, once Blackburn went 1-0 up, there was no real surprise, and the result was exactly as we expected it to be. A 2-0 defeat for Boro at the Riverside against a very good, disciplined side, and it should have been more. The game should have been well out of sight by then, and yeah, as I say, it's just frustrating. And in recent weeks, you can say, well, you know, Boro have been a little bit more blunt going forward, and maybe that's because we're trying to be a bit more defensively solid at the back, and that's fine. You know, that's definitely something Boro need to improve on, and it is a really, really difficult balance to strike, trying to be both solid at one end but prolific at the other. But in this game, unfortunately, unlike games previous where we've still managed to chuck points away, we were both really blunt going forward but so open at the back, and we keep seeing all these goals keep coming from Boro's own mistakes. You know, Vyman's miss come from a bad pass out from Glover. The chance straight after they scored come from us losing the ball straight after kick-off. It's always the same. It's Boro making errors on the ball, and again, you have to ask, are these players good enough to play this current way? I think it simply has to be tweaked. It simply has to be tweaked. You know, we're both not good enough in possession, giving up big chances, but we're also not able to break down the opposition when they sit into a certain shape. So, as I say, and as we've said many, many times, I'm not saying stuff that you guys haven't heard before. It's just rinse and repeat. The same issues time and time again, and I just don't know how long Boro fans can tolerate, you know, the level of patience that we've had. Because again, on our day, we're absolutely great, and we'll probably have a result in a few weeks where we're absolutely blistering and amazing, but how long can we keep seeing these same results and performances drop at home in front of the home fans? Because it's just continually costing us. And again, it's not that we're out the FA Cup that's the problem. It's the fact that at the Riverside, we've seen a team who've easily set up in exactly the same way and come out with the same result. I mean, didn't Carrick see this coming? Wasn't there a part of him pre-match that thought, all right, if they sit deep, we're going to try something different today? You know, it's the FA Cup. You can maybe try something different, do a few different things. So maybe we'll do something a bit different today. You know, if we're struggling to break teams down, if we're seeing the same bad habits and issues and problems that we've seen at home in all of the recent games, Carrick's addressed them himself. He said it's something we have to find a fix for. So why today did he not think, okay, Blackburn are sitting deep as we thought they would, they're defending well, let's do something different, let's change the shape, let's do a few things differently? No, it was the same result we've seen as we have over and over, and until we start to see some sort of solution to this, I think fans are going to continually just go at the Riverside, and again it adds to that already huge pile of apathy, anxiety going to the Riverside, knowing that you're likely going to see a frustrating game, and when the opposition scores first, you're likely going to see the same result. And I don't know how long fans can tolerate this. I think our league position massively is masking over what could potentially be a lot worse at the moment. You know, we're fifth, and that's fine, and that's great, but it's down to the league being poor. It's not a reflection on Boro at all. It's a reflection on the league. And if Boro were 8th or 9th, which we quite easily could be, and other teams around us weren't so inconsistent with the form we're in now, I think the questions asked would be huge. But the league position, I think, at the minute is really, really masking over some serious problems at Boro that need addressing, because it's only going to take a couple of teams to really sort themselves out, and we will start slipping if we don't sort ourselves out. And we've got some tough games coming up, and we've just seen here today a playoff rival has came here with a clear game plan and executed it perfectly and beat us. So yeah, Boro again need to wake up, need to sort themselves out massively. So running through the team, I'll just run through a few performances that I thought were noteworthy. I didn't really see anything all that special from the defence. I thought, again, the centre-backs especially looked a bit shaky at times in possession, as did the goalkeeper. I know they're not our first choice, so maybe we should have played Raven Fry just to be sure today. But yeah, a couple of errors in there definitely put us in trouble a couple of times. I thought in terms of the midfielders, Barlasser was alright. Again, it's a sort of game you hope he'd step up in, but didn't really see much from him. I thought young Law McCabe had a few decent touches, to be fair. I thought at times in some really tight areas he was really, really good, and he progressed the ball well. And I thought out of the two midfielders, it should have been Barlasser who'd got took off. I thought McCabe was having a really good game, and they should have kept him on there, in my opinion. One player who I want to discuss is Micah Hamilton. I was really, really looking forward to seeing Hamilton on the right-hand side today. You know, when I saw the team drop, I saw he'd be on the right, I thought, great, because this is his more natural position that we've seen him play against, you know, for Manchester City in the past, and we've not seen that at Boro. He's always been on the left, and he's never looked comfortable, so I thought, what a great opportunity to hopefully see the real Micah Hamilton today. And a lot of talk around what's happening on Boro's right with Doak and Jones leaving. Could this be the golden chance for Hamilton to say, we don't need to replace Jones, I can play in this position, I can be just as good on the right? We didn't see that. You know, Blackburn's left back was very good against him, but it was another sort of safe performance from Hamilton. He didn't ever look like he was confident enough to beat his man. Just kept playing the ball back inside. Yeah, a big chance I think has gone begging for Micah Hamilton today. And the other attacking players, not great either. You know, McGree in and out, didn't have that much of an influence on the game. Gilbert, I thought was good first half, struggled a bit second half. Had a big chance, of course, second half as well. Bergzorg, I still think is more effective off of the left. Looked a lot better when he was moved there. Doesn't really offer as much up front, and I stand by the fact that he's not a striker. We did see Marcus Forss back. It was good to see that change early, although, as I say, I wish the other changes come earlier as well, because you could say once again it was obvious Boro was struggling to break down this Blackburn team. Didn't bring on Hayden Hackney or Emmanuel Latilath until well after we'd gone 1-0 down, and they were already sat back, comfortable, and it was too late. Again, is there a question of saying, why didn't Michael Carrick be more proactive? Why didn't he see around the hour when he made the first change that this game's not going our way? We're not looking like we're going to break this team down. Bring Hackney, bring Lath on then while the game's at 0-0, but bringing them on with 1-0 down, 50 minutes to go. Yeah, again, it seems more reactive than proactive in my opinion. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys, because quite honestly, this was, I think, more a chance for me to discuss the game and get a few things off my chest, but it's nothing you guys haven't already heard. It's nothing out the ordinary when it comes to Middlesbrough playing at home against a very well-disciplined side. Same issues, same problems, same sort of game, once more, with no sign of a change or resolution to it. And we continue to grow ever more frustrated with how easy and predictable we are to play against at the Riverside. And this was against a team we could be competing with as well, which is even more of a concern. But we're out of both cups, no cup run at all for Boro this season, but especially now going into some really tough games in the Championship with a tough month coming up in February. We've got to buck our ideas up massively. We've got to start playing with a higher tempo. We've got to start playing quicker at home if we're going to make this style or system work in any way, shape or form. And if not, we have to start looking at alternatives to just try and pull teams apart and do something different, because at the minute, the template to come to the Riverside and get a result is way too goddamn easy for opposition. And we've seen this for 18 months now, and it just continues to allow the frustration and grumblings around the fans and Carrick and the team and the home form. All these problems are just growing more and more each week the more we see the same problems happen. So let me know if you've got any solutions in the comments. We, of course, discussed a lot of them in that really long version of Project Boro I did with Chris. So if you've not checked it out, please do. It's on the YouTube channel right now in its entirety. But until next time, guys, as I say, a surprise video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back to preview the Portsmouth game at some point this week, but I am going to be away for that game, so I won't be here to review it. So I'm desperately hoping, just because we're away from home, we might see something different and some improvements from Boro down at Pompey, although they are a very good team at home at the moment. And the next episode of Project Boro, in terms of a review, we'll be probably reviewing both the Pompey and the West Brom games together in the middle of next week after I'm back from London. But until then, do take care, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, hit a like, subscribe for more, leave me a comment below. And if you're listening on your chosen podcast providers, which you can do via links in the description, give me a like, a rating over there. But until then, take care, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.